Awesome. Let me just pause. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Abu Bakr, and this is the kickoff for the Agents and MCP Hackathon that we're hosting this week. We are super, super excited, honestly, that y'all are here. I think this is going to be a lot of fun for everyone involved, hopefully for all of you, and I think all of us as well. We're already seeing a lot of great activity in the org space, as well as on Discord. So great to see the enthusiasm. And what we'll do today is talk a little bit more about kind of just the high level goal of the hackathon, as well as kind of low level details. And then we'll also get a chance to hear from some of the folks who have been very generously sponsoring this hackathon. So we'll get started in maybe, I think I'll give maybe 1 or 2 more minutes for folks to join the live stream. And then we'll get started. But in the meantime, I'm very, very curious, where is everyone joining from? If you can drop in your, I can see comments here. So if you can drop maybe what city, what country you are joining from, that'd be amazing. All right, Luca's joining from Italy, great. We have a couple folks from India. Pakistan, London, nice. Okay, thanks for staying up late, y'all. Those who are joining from India and Pakistan, and appreciate it. Bangladesh. Kosovo, nice. All right, we have some folks from France and from Ottawa, nice. Amazing. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share screen again here. All right. So hopefully y'all should be able to see my screen here as well. Let me see if there's yeah, if you can see what I'm presenting here, please just give me a thumbs up or respond in the comments. Yes, okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, let's get started. Yeah. Well, thank you again. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Like I mentioned, we are super, super excited. We think this whole week is going to be a lot of fun. Really, the goal of this week is to give an opportunity for as many people as possible to join, learn about agents and the Model Context Protocol, MCP, and just build a lot of really cool things. We have a bunch of sponsors who joined in order to make this event possible. We're very, very grateful. Of course, Hugging Face, in addition to Hugging Face, Anthropic, Modal, Mistral, OpenAI, Nebius, Sambanova, LlamaIndex, and Hyperbolic are all contributing in different ways to make this hackathon possible. And you'll actually hear from a few of the folks later at this live stream. But yeah, but before that, I just want to talk about who I am and then why we're doing this. I'm Abu Bakr. I lead the Gradio team at Hugging Face. And the high-level purpose, high-level goal of the Gradio team is to just make it possible for machine learning advances to be as accessible to as many people. We primarily focus on, the Gradio open source library. So I'm sure many of you have used that before. If not, you'll get a taste of that. But yeah, I live in Palo Alto with my family. And then also you'll hear shortly from UV. UV is a developer relationship lead at Gradio and Hugging Face. You've probably heard from him already if you've been getting emails from him, notifications from him. Basically, helps developers build, share, and scale stuff with Gradio. And he lives in Jaipur, India. So great. And who you all are. We had kind of modest, I think, expectations with the number of folks that would join. We definitely did not expect more than 3,000 people to join right now. I think, and this is not even necessarily the latest numbers. This is what I pulled yesterday or the day before. So it might be even more than that by now. But we have more than 3,000 folks. And just going back to kind of, you all are probably seeing the live stream in different places. We have folks coming everywhere from Warsaw to Malaysia, to the US. So a lot of time zones are represented here. So really, we appreciate all of y'all for joining. I want to talk about why we're doing this hackathon. Um, Really, I think, agents and MCP, we're very excited about them. I think there is a lot of stuff that can be built. And the reason we think it makes for a really good hackathon experience in particular is because, it gives, like, the kind of stuff I like building personally is when you can actually build something that solves your own problem, right? Or scratches your own itch. So if you're here, you're probably all, you use LLMs for coding, for, various general purpose like queries. But as you're using them, you're probably noticing, oh, this, LLMs can't do X. And MCPs and agents give us the opportunity to actually, close that gap, and build some of that capabilities that we're currently missing. So that's kind of one reason why we're doing this. The other reason why I think it makes sense for hackathons is there's an incredible variety of things that you can imagine that you can do with MCPs and tooling. It's not restricted to a particular domain. Whether you are a coder or you're not a coder, maybe you're someone coming in from healthcare or legal, or just like a parent who wants to build something for their kid. There is an incredible amount of applications that you can actually build with agents and MCPs. And some of the kind of exciting stuff is we're starting to see like mixing genres of application. Recently saw someone who was doing kind of something like therapy and storytelling for their kids, trying to figure out their emotional kind of needs and then writing a story for lots of cool stuff where you can combine like fixed knowledge bases or structure and then add the power of LLMs to that kind of mix. And we're seeing, okay, so that's like if you kind of want to build a particular tool, but we're also seeing if you have an existing platform or if you have existing tooling that you have out there, LLM usage matters increasingly. So increasingly, for example, at Hugging Face, we see a lot of referrals to our website and to our platform coming from ChatGPT, from Claude, and so on. So LLM usage definitely matters, and making your product as easy to use for LLMs through MCPs also matters. Even if at the end of the day you care about human users, many of them are either going to be directly using them through MCPs or indirectly through referrals and things like that, where MCPs can at least make that process better. And then finally, for the purpose of a hackathon, what matters really, a week is not a lot of time. So what matters is to be able to build and iterate quickly. And open source libraries such as Gradio, like I'll talk about, let you build and deploy agents and MCPs very, very quickly. So from a technical point of view, we can iterate very quickly, giving you a lot of time to actually work on kind of the UX side of things, or kind of hone in on exactly the application that you want, and then you can quickly test it out yourself, and then kind of see if it works for you or what you want to kind of modify for the purpose of the hackathon. So that's kind of the high level purpose of why agents, why we're doing this hackathon, why we're focusing on agents and MCP. And it's not just the hackathon. Hugging Face in general is doing a lot of work in this space right now. Many of you all may have seen the Small Agents Library, which is something we released a while back that lets you create agents very quickly. We released a whole course, agents course, that builds on top of Small Agents, but also other kind of frameworks. It covers other like very popular frameworks for building agents. If you haven't checked it out, those are incredibly valuable resources for you during this hackathon and afterwards. We also more recently released an MCP course, so a course entirely on the Model Context Protocol, and then also released tiny agents, so different from Small Agents, but it's a very, very minimal kind of example of how you can call MCP servers and tooling in just 70 lines of code. So these are valuable resources that as you're building in this hackathon, you might want to check out and kind of test. One other thing, I'll just tease this. If you want, you can visit this link. This is something that we haven't really announced yet. We actually just made this link live today, a couple hours ago, I think. And this is something we're experimenting with at Hugging Face. I won't say anything else. If you're curious, try out the link and see if you can figure out what's happening there. There's not much from a UI perspective, so you'll have to dig in. But if you figure it out, it could be useful for stuff that you're building. All right. But as you've noticed, this is very much, from the title, this is a Gradio agents and MCP hackathon. So what is Gradio doing here? If you know Gradio already, you might ask, isn't Gradio a Python library for building UIs? user interfaces, applications, demos. What does it have to do with agents and MCPs? In fact, Gradio isn't just a Python library for building UIs. The way we think about it actually is Gradio lets you easily take any sort of machine learning model or collection of models, or kind of generally any piece of like any Python function really, and that's very general, of course. And it lets you expose it to the right kind of to different end users in the right format, right? So it lets you build UIs for humans. But every Gradio application also comes with a pre-built API for software. It also comes, as I'll show in just a second, every Gradio application is also an MCP, or can be deployed as an MCP very, very easily, making that same application something that can be consumed by an LLM. So that's all kind of abstract and hypothetical. Let me make it much more concrete. So let me make it much more concrete. So here, what we have is we have a Gradio application. It's a function. I'm going to call it stylized image. And what that'll do is that'll take a function that'll take in an image and a style, and it'll return a modified style, right? So you can imagine that as something like, for example, it takes in a input image, which could be a photo, and it takes in a style, which could be something like, I don't know, Studio Ghibli image style, and then it returns a stylized image, which is a modified function. And so what you can do is you can deploy this function as a Gradio application very easily by taking in inputs like an image and a dropdown, and then the output is also an image. So you can see it deploys this as a UI very easily right here. So this is something that's designed for humans, but so it's something that's designed for humans, but you can also use this Gradio application programmatically via an API. So this is something that comes with every Gradio application. You can also use the same application via UI. But what you can also do is you can pass in one extra parameter, MCP server equals true. And what that does is that you can see it changed here, use via API or MCP. And what that does, it lets LLMs actually use this Gradio application, directly via, at the end of the day, a human using that LLM can now use your Gradio application via natural language. And then once you have your Gradio application, you can actually deploy these Gradio applications as MCP servers on the hub, right? So on the Hugging Face hub, on Spaces. So if you've deployed Gradio applications on Spaces before, it's a free hosting platform for Gradio applications. You can deploy your code exactly as is, and then you can select what kind of hardware you want. If it runs on CPU, then it's free. If it runs on GPU, there's different options. But what you can also do is you can actually deploy your MCP servers on Spaces as well. So what this does is on Spaces, you can actually now filter by MCP compatible Gradio spaces. So you can find a bunch of MCP servers that you can use within your LLMs. So once you open it up, now you can use that Gradio application or that tool with any LLM. So here, for example, I'm using this within Cursor, but you could use it within Claude or anything else really. And one thing I'll just share, this is very new. We haven't shared this publicly yet, but this Gradio MCP integration, it supports not just SSC and ST, the standard IO protocols, but it also actually, as of a few days ago, supports the streamable HTTP protocol as well. And now this is great because this basically means no matter what your LLM client uses, whether it's any of these protocols, you can actually use build a Gradio application and make it work with your client. Okay. And that is just a taste of what you can do in this hackathon. There's a lot more that you can do. You don't have to just build MCP servers. You don't have to just build agents. We'll talk about the different tracks. I'll hand it over to Yuvi just shortly for that. But there's a lot more that you can do. This poster here is actually outdated now because we have more prizes than that. We have a lot of cash and credit that's going to be awarded to all of the registrants, but then of course all of the winners as well. So with that, we hope, and all you need basically for any of this is, all of these resources are available online. All you need really is a computer, You need a Hugging Face account, which everyone probably, if you've registered, you have a Hugging Face account. If you're joining the live stream without registering, you will need to do that. We can share the registration link afterwards. And then if many of our partners are providing API credits, like I mentioned, so you might need accounts with those folks as well. And we'll hear from a couple of them talking about how that works, if you're planning on using those API credits. But with that, I want to actually hand this over to Yuvi, who's going to talk more about the hackathon details and resources. So more of the actual details. So let me stop sharing my screen. Welcome. Let me go ahead and add your screen as well.
Hey everyone.
Yeah, you should be
Yeah,
live.
thanks Abubakar, for that wonderful presentation. Let me start my slides. Just 1 second. I hope you guys can hear me well. All right. So yeah, just 1 second and I'll begin. So like Abubakar said, I'll be telling you about what this hackathon is about, what resources you have, and what are the different tracks and how long it is and all those things. So yeah. Right. So we have started yesterday, and we will go on till Sunday, June 8th. You have this whole 1 week to build, and you have to submit. Keep in mind that you have to submit your entries by June 8th, by UTC day end. This whole thing is online, and you can participate as an individual or as a team. You can go up till 5 members, and so we never expected this, that we will blow up so much. Right now we are at 3,000, more than 3,000 participants, and we are still registering. So knock yourself out if you haven't registered yet. And we have around 16,000 dollar in cash prizes, and then more than 1 million in API credits and computer credits from our generous sponsors. And then there are 3 tracks. So the first track is around MCP. So what I mean by tracks is that you can submit for these 3 things, like three broad categories. The first category is it should be an MCP related. So you I think Gowakar already covered that you can create any Gradio app as an MCP server. So you can do that. And so the second track will be custom components. And so custom components is like if you are using Gradio, you might have questions like I wish if I can do something else using Gradio, I can build something else. I can, if there would have been a different component, all those things. So you can create any component you want using Gradio. So we want to see how what community builds with with agentic UI in mind. If you have something like that in mind, just go on. And then last thing is an agentic demo, an end-to-end agentic app using Radio, and using one of the sponsors that we have, like for example LlamaIndex, or APIs from Sambanova or Anthropic or OpenAI or Mistral and so on. And so yeah, so we have for all these different tracks, we have different prices. So for every track, we have 2 prizes. First one is $2,500, and then second one is $500. The cash prizes are offered by Hugging Face as well as some of our sponsors. So there is another prizes. There are a few special category prizes. Like for example, we have LlamaIndex, which is sponsoring $1,000. So for example, if you build an app which is using LlamaIndex and with MCP and it's agentic, so you stand to win that prize. And similarly, we have something like community choice. So like for example, if you have the highest amount of engagement on your app, or you have the highest number of likes, then you stand to win. And then there are other prizes sponsored by other, sponsored. Like for example, we have Modal, which is sponsoring a 5,000 US dollar. It's similar to LlamaIndex. You have to use Modal in this, and you can mix these two things. Like for example, you can build an app that uses Modal and that uses Mistral and that uses the LlamaIndex as well, and you can qualify for all these categories. And I can imagine that you will have more questions about these kind of awards and categories. So feel free to drop us any of your questions or suggestions or ideas with us in Discord. So we are really open to listening to that. Um, yeah, so our sponsors have very generously, lent out these API credits. So every participant gets modal credit. So what you can use it for is, you can use it for hosting inferences for compute-heavy models, and for example, Flux or Qwen3 or DeepSeek Carbon, you can use Modal for that. Then you can use Navius for API credits. Again, these are open source, strong, powerful LLMs that you can use for it. Then you have Anthropic and OpenAI, which you can use their APIs like Claude and GPT-4o and so on. And then Hugging Face is providing $25 worth of inference provider credits. Um, and we have Hyperbolic, we have Mistral, and we have Sambanova as well. So the timeline for this week is like today we have this live kickoff. Then tomorrow, what we're going to do is we have these office hours, and in those, so we have these office hours planned throughout the week. And during these office hours, what you can do is, you can ask. You will be having these folks from different sponsors or different teams within Gradio. Like you'll have a worker tomorrow answering your MCP related questions, what you can build with Gradio, what is possible right now, and then you'll have LlamaIndex as well later tomorrow, and then Mistral, and then we have someone for coming from Sambanova on June 5th, and then again we have Freddie and Pete from in-house talking about custom components on June 5th. So the idea basically is that we want to provide you ample resources and guidance so that you can build great apps and you have fun while building all these apps, and you're not frustrated, and you're stuck with any technical questions. Other than these office hours, always we would encourage you to feel free in dropping any questions you have on the Discord channels, on different Discord channels that we have. And yeah, just feel free to engage with the community or with us, tag us, any wonderful HR folk, and we'll be very happy to help you out with that. And then next week on Friday, most likely we will be announcing winners. But if we get, let's say, around 1,000 applications, so we might have to defer it by a day or two. But let's see what happens. So I think Abubakar also covered this. We have different resources. We have different courses from wonderful folks at Hugging Face. We have MCP course, we have Agents course, and then there are different guides from Gradio, like around MCP, around agents, around custom components. And then apart from these, we have resources which are pulled in from all these sponsors. They might be talking about that right now, and I will also be sending you emails and communications listing all those things that you have, so that all these things are at your fingertips, and you can refer them anytime. So yeah, like I said, we have live support going on Discord. We encourage everyone to follow community guidelines while asking questions and while helping others out. We are also sending regular communications about credits, about other updates via emails, and we are making constant updates on our homepage. And I believe you all have already joined the org. And if not, if you haven't joined it, I'll request rather that go ahead and join the org, because the thing is, if you are there in the organization, then only you are eligible to submit your entry for our consideration. So yeah, please make a note of that. And so what we have also come up with is that if we see someone who is helping others out on Discord, we would be very happy to send out Hugging Face swag on the way. So yeah, just feel free to help everyone out if you have some time on your hands. The guidelines are, if you are, this is just an example how you can tag your space on Hugging Face. So for example, if what you have built, you think it covers two tracks, so what you can do is, you can add a tag, metadata tag, and these tags, these specific tags, they are mentioned on the org page as well. So feel free to check that out. And if you think, if you're building with, let's say, for example, something with Cursor or Klein or somebody else, somewhere else, then please include your video so that we can verify it, your recording of your app, your demo, and link to it, upload it on YouTube or in any other way. If you want to share with us, just link it to us in the space that you will create. So even if you don't have anything in your space, include a nice readme that that has everything what you have built. About if you are submitting as a team, make sure that you are including everything about your team members, like especially the HF username. I don't want you to list their email addresses, but yeah, please do mention their HF usernames. And then your next steps: join the org if you haven't. Complete the registration form. We are open till June 8th, and if you want to refer this hackathon to your friends or your colleagues, just feel free to do that. We are accepting applications. Pick your track and idea, start building now because time is running out, and jump into Discord anytime and feel free to tag us. And that's it from me. Yeah, let's build. I think I can hand it over to you, Walker, if you're still around.
Yeah, absolutely. I think great. Thanks, Yuvi. Let's bring in some folks who are generously sponsoring the hackathon.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, should we start with Justin from Sambanova? Justin, are you ready? All right.
Can you guys
Uh,
can you hear me? I just want to make sure that people
yes,
can
we can hear you.
you can hear me fine. Okay, great. Well, my name's Justin. I'm from Sambanova. I'm going to go really quickly over this. If you're going to take a screenshot of the page or of the live stream, this is the most important page here. So we're giving out a prize for the best use of the Sambanova API. I'm also hosting office hours on June 5th at 10 a.m. That's my email down there. I've got my Discord handle. I'm going to be on Discord the entire time. And if you sign up using this link, so I would take a screenshot of this URL here and this QR code. If you sign up for this link, we're going to give you $5 in free credits. I'm going to tell you how we can use those credits to actually build an MCP server in a second. All right, so let's just get going here. So one thing about it, we did give out $25 in free credits to the first 250 participants, but that URL will give you $5 of credits. And we're also giving out $500 to the best use of the Sambanova API. So let's dive deep into what Sambanova API is, the AI is. So we're the most fastest and efficient AI accelerator that serves open source models on our cloud platform. So when you go to that link that I just showed, I'm going to show it to you at the end of this presentation, it will bring you to this dashboard here. And you can see these are all the open source models that we host right now, including DeepSeek, Llama 3.1, Llama 4, and even Whisper. All right. And within each of these models, we do have a Gradio code here too that you can access the models via Python code and of course a code request that you can access using an OpenAI compatible URL. Okay, so I'm just going to show you really quickly how you can go into like a model that we have. This is our playground that you can access. And if you want to see what I'm doing here, you can actually hit view code here and it'll show you exactly how to get the AI running, the large language model running using these endpoints. But I'm going to go really quickly and just hit one of our sample prompts here. And what you can see is that we pride ourselves on being like the fastest LM. And you can see that we're getting it at 0.13 time the first token and 221 tokens per second. So if you're trying to build an agent that's super fast, super efficient, I would recommend using Sambanova. So I'm going to talk to you. I think right now what's really important is you want to get building an MCP server. I would recommend using Sambanova with Client. Why? Because it's free, because we give you $5 in credits and you can actually use that to build an MCP server really quickly. So really quickly, the way I'm going to demonstrate this is if I go to the Sambanova cloud here and I type in DeepSeek R1, if I type something like build me an MCP server right here, it's going to be really fast in building me an MCP server, but it doesn't really know what's an MCP server. And here it thought that's a Minecraft server. What's really cool is that the Gradio docs actually has an MCP server, and I hook that up to Client so that you can actually use this Gradio server and Client and the free credits to build an MCP server really quickly. So I'm going to jump right into it quickly since we're almost running out of time here. So once you build up, I'm going to show you my screen. Sorry, I'm going to present to you about that. Give me 1 second to present to you my. Give me one. Okay, great. All right, so now I've got Client up and running here. This is Visual Studio Code. Client is an extension. Again, if you go and sign up using that URL I showed you, you can actually enable Sambanova as one of the providers, and $5 credit should be more than enough for you to build an MCP server using this client bot extension. And you would go ahead and grab your API provider and Sambanova API key in the sandbox that I showed you. Once you can do that, go ahead and configure the Gradio server that I showed you, and I can share you those links later on. And these MCP servers actually load up into the Gradio docs, which is really cool because now Client has a way to understand how to build an MCP server. So I'm going to show you really quickly. I've already got a prompt that does that. And just as you can see, the prompt says, read the Gradio documentation and build an MCP server for me. And then it actually goes into the Gradio MCP server, reads the documentation, and actually builds the MCP server. So I'm actually going to do the task, but I'm not going to do the task right now. I'm going to encourage you to do that and ping me if you have any questions. But it actually can build an MCP server using the Gradio documentation. So now that I'm just actually running out of time here, I'm going to flash the most important slide I have here, which is we're giving $500 best use of Sambanova API. If you want to get $5 in free credits, go to this bit.ly link here. And just to recap, what I showed you was to get $5 in free credit in Sambanova, the API AI, use Client to build your MCP server, and then also use the Gradio Docs MCP server within Client to understand how to build MCP server. And then that's all I've got to share. Thank you. So I'm going to pass it back to,
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Justin. Very, very cool. Very meta. I love it. We're going to change, shift gears a little bit. Justin, thanks so much. I'm going to bring on Tuana, if you're ready, from LlamaIndex. All right. You should be live.
Hey, can you hear me properly?
Yeah.
All right. So since we don't have a lot of time, I've decided to do a very quick intro into what LlamaIndex and the Llama Cloud landscape looks like and what you can do with the LlamaIndex tooling. So what we provide is a event-driven agentic workflow, which means that you can customize agentic workflows to your will, basically. And these types of workflows, so what you're seeing on this screen, this funky looking graph, is actually a pretty complex agentic workflow that is also using GraphRag and under the hood. But each of these steps and events you can define completely yourself. So it's very flexible in defining very custom agentic workflows. You can also build things that can route that run in parallel, that have decision nodes, etc. as well. But something that we recently added, and we haven't had a lot of users just yet. This is super new, so I would love to see if you do want to create MCP servers based on agentic workflows yourself. You can scan this QR code, but I'm sure we're going to send these resources out to you later as well. We've recently added a very neat helper function that allows you to convert any agentic workflow into its own little MCP server. The same way, you can also use pre-existing MCP servers as tools for your agentic workflows in LlamaIndex. So you can actually, I think there's a lot of things that you can build with LlamaIndex that would fit any of the 3 tracks that we have going on right now. Lastly, I want to briefly talk about Llama Cloud because everyone who signs up to Llama Cloud will get 10K credits. So that's about $10 to $15 worth of credits. But it means that you can use all of the Llama Cloud products that allows you to store, chunk, pre-process data. One of the latest things we added is Llama Extract, which is a great way to extract structured outputs out of complex document sources. And then you can also use Llama Parse, which allows you to bring in notoriously difficult to handle file types and parse them into a way that an LLM can make use of. And you get access to all of these, and you can also use them as an MCP server. And I have an example repository linked here for that as well. So anything that you build in Llama Cloud, whether it's something that parses, extracts, stores, you can wrap that up into an MCP server and provide that to any other agentic workflow or application as well. And then the last thing, I guess this is the main one that I should share, is this is the Llama Cloud sign up that allows you to get 10K free credits, that allows you to use parse, extract, and index as well. I'm going to be hosting a Discord office hours. I believe it's Discord office hours, and I think it's at 9 a.m. PT, but I'll ask UV or Abu Bakr to confirm that tomorrow with my colleague. We'll be there to answer any of your questions. We can even do screen shares and try out some code together, but that should be tomorrow at 9 a.m. PT, hopefully. And with that, I can hand over to the next speaker.
Thanks so much, Tuana. Very, very cool. And with that, we're going to have our final speaker, Joffrey from Mistral. So I'm going to remove you, Tuana, and then add Joffrey here. Hey, Joffrey, you should be live.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, good. So, hi everyone, and welcome. I'm Joffrey, a developer relation engineer from Mistral, but some of you might recognize me from the agent course that I led while I was doing my time at Hugging Face. So, I'm here to showcase the potential of Mistral offering in the context of this hackathon. First, let's talk about what we provide during this hackathon. We are providing $25 of credits for you to build with Mistral. If you end up winning the Mistral Choice Award, we will grant you an additional $2,000 of credit to push your ID. Finally, I will also be present in the Discord to answer potential questions you may have. 2025 was very packed for Mistral as a number of releases, but let me quickly highlight 3 of them that might be amazing for you during this hackathon. We have Destral, an open source model specialized in software engineering tasks, and our OCR API that would be great candidates if you want to build MCP servers around them. And last but not least, we just released last week our agent API, which allow you to create agents and interact with them really easily. Let's spend a little bit more time on that. So the agent API is directly integrated into our client, so it's really easy to start building with it. You don't need to install new external library. You can just upgrade your Python version of the client and you're good to go. So our agent API handle the conversations, the agent, and a different set of tools. Let's spend a little bit time on the set of tools that you can build with. So there are actually 3 different types. The first one are the connectors. Those are built-in tools that are in the API that you don't have to code yourself. So you have a web search, a code interpreter, an image generator, and a document library. Those are built-in. You can think of them as some kind of MCP server that we build on our side so that you don't have to code those very generic and complex function otherwise. Complex to optimize function. So of course, you can still use traditional function calls in the traditional fashion, function that are local and that you call locally. And the one that you're most interested about most likely are the MCP server. Our agent API is MCP compatible. So little reminder, but MCP is a standard that provides you with a set of tools in the form of an API. If you build MCPs with Gradio, it's actually super easy to use from Hugging Face and through our agent API, because all spaces from Hugging Face have a public URL, and you can just find that public URL into your space, instantiate an SSC server from that URL into our client, and just start talking with your agent. The code sample here is not fully complete for lack of space, so you can find the collab directly in the presentation. And if UV, you can send it into the chat, it would be great. In that example, I'm using a TTS space directly on my Hugging Face profile, and I'm just using it to generate a WAV file that I'm reading locally through a local function. Our agent API obviously handles multi-agent, so we call that handoff. This is our way to handle multiple agents in a sequential manner, meaning like agents don't scale well with the number of tools that you provide to them. So you're better off creating more specialized agents and let the LLM decide to which agent it can hand off its work to out of a pool of predefined secondary agents. So you can see that like handing over the work from one person to another and both having different set of skills. If you want to learn more about the agent API, you can just visit the following links. And being a huge fan of Hackathon and having sponsored a lot, I can't wait to see what you're going to build with our API and Mistral models.
Thanks so much, Geoffrey. They're really cool to see what Mistral is offering. I'm gonna go ahead and just take over now. Awesome. With that, our time has come to a close, and I want to be respectful of everyone who's here. We've covered a lot of information. If you have questions about any of the stuff that we mentioned, in terms of general MCP and agents, kind of just theoretical stuff or stuff specific to the hackathon, please ask in our Discord channel. So we've provided in the comments, we've linked to the Discord channel. We'll be there. We'll be answering questions as much as we can during this week. And if you have questions about any of the stuff that our sponsors mentioned, Sambanova, LlamaIndex, Mistral, or any of the other ones that are providing credits, feel free to ask in the Discord as well, and we'll try to route the questions, or they'll be around as well with office hours as well. So we'll try to get all of these questions answered. With that, thank you so much. Let's build some amazing stuff. All right. Thanks so much, Justin. Loved your energy. I can't hear you. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can bring